Jane Toppin was born Honora Kelly on March 31, 1854, the daughter of Irish immigrants. Her mother, Bridget Kelly, died of tuberculosis when she was very young. Her father, Peter Kelly, was well known as an eccentric and abusive alcoholic, nicknamed by those who knew him Kelly the Crack, as in crackpot. In later years, Kelly became the source of many local rumors concerning his supposed insanity, the most popular of which being that his madness finally drove him to sew his own eyelids closed while working as a tailor. In 1860, only a few years after his wife's death, Kelly took his two youngest children, 8-year-old Delia Josephine and 6-year-old Honora, to the Boston Female Asylum, an orphanage for indigent female children. Kelly surrendered the two girls, never to see them again. Documents from the asylum note that they were rescued from a very miserable home. No records exist of Delia and Honora's experiences during their time in the asylum, but reportedly Delia became a prostitute, while their older sister, Nellie, who was not committed to the orphanage, was committed to an insane asylum. In November 1862, less than 2 years after her father had left them, Honora Kelly was placed as an indentured servant in the home of Mrs. and C. Toppin of Lowell, Massachusetts. Though never formally adopted by the Toppins, Honora took on the surname of her benefactors and eventually became known as Toppin. The original Toppin family already had a daughter, Elizabeth, whom Honora was on good terms with. In 1885, Toppin began training to be a nurse at Cambridge Hospital. Unlike her early years, where she was described as brilliant and terrible, at the hospital she was well-liked, bright and friendly, evoking the nickname Jolly Jane. Once Toppin became close with the patients, she picked her favorite ones. The patients were normally elderly and very sick. During her residency, Toppin used her patients as guinea pigs in experiments with morphine and atropine. She altered their prescribed dosages to see what it did to their nervous systems. However, she spent considerable time alone with patients, making up fake charts and medicating them to drift in and out of consciousness and even getting into bed with them. Toppin was recommended for the prestigious Massachusetts General Hospital in 1889. There, she claimed several more victims before being fired the following year. She briefly returned to Cambridge but was soon dismissed for administering opiates recklessly. Toppin then began a career as a private nurse and flourished despite complaints of petty theft. Toppin began her poisoning spree in earnest in 1895 by killing her landlord, Israel Dunham, and his wife. In 1899, she killed her foster sister Elizabeth with a dose of strychnine. In 1901, Toppin moved in with the elderly Alden Davis and his family in Catoma to take care of him after the death of his wife, Mattie, whom Toppin had murdered. Within weeks, she killed Davis, ate his sister Edna, and two of his daughters, Minnie and Genevieve. The surviving members of the Davis family ordered a toxicology exam on Alden Davis' youngest daughter, Minnie. The report found that she had been poisoned, and local authorities put a police detail on Toppin. On October 29, 1901, she was arrested for murder. By 1902, she had confessed to 31 murders. Soon after the trial, one of William Randolph Hearst's newspapers, the New York Journal, printed what was purported to be Toppin's confession to her lawyer, claiming that she had killed more than 31 people and that she wanted the jury to find her sane so she could eventually have a chance at being released. Toppin insisted upon her own sanity in court, claiming that she could not be insane if she knew what she was doing and knew that it was wrong, but nonetheless she was declared insane and committed. On June 23, in the Barnstable County Courthouse, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed for life in the Taunton Insane Hospital.